Welcome to our YouTube video series on business and incorporation law for medical and dental professionals. My name is Christopher Neufeld of Neufeld Legal, and in this particular video we will be discussing tax deferral opportunities available through the use of a corporation, in particular a professional corporation. Now, what a tax deferral means is that instead of paying a larger amount of tax at this point in time, you reduce the current tax burden and you shift it to a later period in time. Now, you may in effect actually be paying more taxes over a period of time simply because your tax deferral creates the opportunity to have more investment money to invest with, and therefore in the long term have a greater amount of money. So that is what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to keep as much money from being taxed now, so we have more money available to yourself to invest with, to buy real estate, other types of property, shares, stocks and companies, you name it, and then to eventually take it out at a later date, then pay the tax at the personal level at that time. And this, in effect, will create more opportunities for you to have a larger retirement savings than you would have otherwise. So let's go through this scenario. So if we were to take a younger medical or dental professional, and let us presume that they are having earnings in the range of $300,000, and that they estimate that they have a need to draw approximately, let's say, $120,000 of those dollars out for their personal expenses. In addition to the fact that they're maximizing their RRSP contributions and their tax-free savings account deposits, which represents another $27,000 or so on RRSP contributions and $6,000 on a tax-free savings account contribution. So if we take those numbers in place, what we're looking at on a unincorporated situation, depending upon the province in which they work, well, if they were in the province of Ontario, you'd be looking at approximately $104,000 in income tax split between federal and provincial tax, plus another $4,000 in CPP and EI contributions. And if you're looking at the province of Alberta, you would be looking at approximately somewhere in the range of $92,000, $93,000 in personal taxes split between provincial and federal taxes, with somewhere under $4,000 in Canadian pension plan and employment insurance contributions being paid out. What this means is they will be left with after-tax personal cash somewhere in the range of $192,000 for the Ontario professional and $203,000 for the Alberta professional, given the variances in the provincial tax rates imposed upon individuals. So once we start doing our accounting for the $120,000 in living expenses, the RRSP contributions, the tax-free savings account, your dental or medical professional in Ontario would have something less than $40,000 with which to invest, and our professional in Alberta would have close to $50,000 with which to invest. So keep these numbers in mind as we look at the situation where they incorporate a professional corporation and look to maintain it. So naturally, there's a cost with maintaining a corporation, so we're going to tack an additional $4,000 to $5,000 based on that. But we're going to operate on the same basis of having $300,000 of earnings and this is after overhead but before taxes. So taking that into account, and then having a similar scenario where they're drawing upon their corporation to the tune of $120,000 to spend, but they have to take a salary considerably larger than that, because that salary is going to be utilized to make their tax payments on a personal level, to make their RRSP contributions, and to pay into the tax-free savings account. What you have is a scenario where in Ontario, the professional would be drawing a salary of, let us say, somewhere in the range of $225,000, and in Alberta, somewhere in the range of $215,000. And what does this mean? Well, what it means is that the Ontario corporation is left with $70,000 or so before taxes, and the Alberta corporation is left with somewhere around $80,000 before taxes. So then we have to apply our federal and provincial tax rates, and we find that the Ontario corporation, after paying those taxes, would be having approximately somewhere over $60,000 in profits remaining after taxation, and the Alberta corporation would have somewhere in the range of $70,000 or more in profits available for investment. So what does this mean? Well, we look at it and we're seeing about a $20,000 benefit on each of the Ontario and Alberta professional corporations, even after having paid the $4,000 to $5,000 in administrative fees associated with having incorporated the company. Now, these are just estimates, and based on the continuing variance in tax rates, we can see a lot of shifting. Now, naturally, as the medical and dental professionals make more money, the savings are that much greater. So we could be looking at any, sometimes upwards of $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 of additional investment money available to those professionals with which to invest. Remember, it's a tax deferral. Eventually, when you take it out for personal use, you will still have to pay the tax on that money. But until that time, you can invest that money and get the full benefit of that investment, and also be able to use other tax planning techniques, including lifetime capital gains and other tax strategies that might be available to yourself to optimize your returns and minimize the amount of tax you have to pay out. So that's what you're achieving through a tax deferral strategy from a professional corporation. And this is but one of the elements that you can achieve by utilizing a professional corporation. But it's always important to understand that you need to set up these structures properly, maintain them correctly, and stay compliant, because especially on the tax side, you always have Revenue Canada breathing down your neck, looking for ways to increase their tax revenue. So compliance and adherence to the law is always important, hence the need to be utilizing knowledgeable legal and tax professionals to facilitate the processes that you're looking to undertake through the introduction or the creation of a professional corporation to advance your business objectives. Thank you.